and welcome back to Danny Daydreams. It's time for another story, and I enjoyed the Brothers Grimm fairy tale so much that I thought we'd have a look at another one. Today's story is Little Red Riding Hood, an absolute classic. Let's begin. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who was so kind and good that everybody loved her. Her grandmother gave her this special present, a hooded travelling cloak of red velvet. The little girl thought it was so beautiful that from then on she never went out without it. So everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day the girl's mother said, "Little Red Riding Hood, your grandmother is ill. Will you visit her and take her this bottle of juice and her favourite cake? Hopefully they will do her good. Now, you know the way very well. Make sure you don't leave the path. Go straight there." "Don't worry, Mother," said Little Red Riding Hood. "I'll go straight there." She took the juice and the cake, and off she set through the woods to her grandma's house. She hadn't got very far when a wolf trotted out of the trees up to her. Little Red Riding Hood did not know that the wolf was sly and dangerous, so she wasn't afraid at all. "Hello, Little Red Riding Hood," the wolf politely said. "Good day, Mr. Wolf," said Little Red Riding Hood, and the wolf began to walk beside her. "Where are you going?" he grinned. "To my grandmother's," Little Red Riding Hood replied. "She's ill, so I'm taking her some treats to help her feel better." "And where does your grandmother live, Little Red Riding Hood?" asked the wolf. "Just a few minutes further on," the girl replied. "Her cottage is the little one underneath the 3 large oak trees. You must have seen it." Little Red Riding Hood never dreamed that the wolf was up to no good. But what he was actually thinking: "This little girl is so young and sweet. She would taste delicious. Maybe I can eat the grandma first to stop my empty stomach rumbling. Then this little girl second, as a sweet pudding." He quickly thought up of a plan to slow Little Red Riding Hood down and be the first to reach the cottage. "How pretty the flowers are here," he remarked. "Why don't you pick some for your grandmother?" "What a lovely idea," said Little Red. "Thank you, Mr. Wolf," and she skipped off into the trees to gather pretty posy, while the wolf bounded off down the path as fast as his legs could carry him. Very soon he reached the grandmother's house and knocked gently on the door. "Who's there?" came the sick old lady's weak, trembling voice. The wolf tried to make his voice sound like Little Red Riding Hood. "It's your granddaughter," he squeaked. "I've brought some treats for you. Open the door." "Oh, how lovely! Thank you," called out the grandmother. "But I'm afraid I'm too weak to get up. Just let yourself in." The wolf licked his lips. He lifted the latch and pushed the door open. He sprang over to the grandmother's bed and swallowed her up with one snap of his jaws. Then he squeezed into her frilly nightdress and cap, drew the curtains to darken the room, and lay down in her bed, pulling the quilt up to his chin. Little Red Riding Hood arrived at the cottage to find the door wide open. How strange, she thought. Nervously, she stepped inside to find the usually bright room all dim and gloomy. Very strange indeed, she thought. There lay her grandmother, with a nightcap pulled far down over her face and the covers drawn up over her chin, looking very odd. "Oh, grandmother," Little Red Riding Hood said, "what big ears you have! I never noticed before." "All the better to hear you with, my dear," came the reply. "Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have!" Little Red Riding Hood couldn't help but remark. "All the better to see you with, my dear," came the reply. "Oh, grandmother, what large hands you have!" said Little Red Riding Hood, her eyes widening with surprise. "All the better to hug you with, my dear," came the reply. "Oh, grandmother, what a big mouth you have!" gasped Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to eat you with," roared the wolf, and with that he sprang out of bed and swallowed Little Red Riding Hood up. The wolf now had such a full stomach that he began to feel very sleepy. Quite pleased with himself, he lay back down in the bed for a snooze. But while he was snoring, a huntsman passed the cottage. The man thought it was very unusual that the door was open wide and looked inside to see if everything was all right. His eyes lit up when he saw the wolf in the bed. "Ah, I've been trying to catch you for a long time," he thought. He took out his hunting knife and slash, slash. That was the end of the wicked creature. And out of the slit in the wolf's tummy came Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother. The wolf had swallowed them whole, so apart from being frightened, they were quite unharmed. Then all three were delighted. The huntsman went home carrying the wolf skin. The grandmother admired the flowers, drank the juice, and ate the cake, and began to feel much better. And Little Red Riding Hood ran home safely to her mother and lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you so much for joining me again at Danny Daydreamers. I hope to see you again soon. Don't forget to stick around for the follow-up video where I'm going to ask you some questions about the story we've just read. See you soon. Bye.